It is a 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles, I think, right? Hopefully. Oh, yeah. And it's Wednesday, June 25th, AD 2025. Gonna have a loosey-goosey fun, hopefully. The Hake Report show. We'll take your calls, as always. It is 1-888-775-3773. Please note that everything that you hear, the views expressed and other supposed information, do not represent even Hake himself. I don't represent myself. It's true. I mean, sometimes I don't know, whatever. But anyway, it definitely doesn't represent Bond or JLP or the network. You represent you, if you do even do a good job of that, honestly. I represent me, kind of, barely. And no endorsement is implied. No condemnation or opposition or whatever. And so just relax, you know? Step off. Sorry. I saw some little bit of a movie. It's a classic moment, sort of. But anyway, yeah, Hake disclaims Hake, not disavows. I may disavow. Maybe I should disavow. But anyway, you can super chat as well. buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report. An easy way, just go to the website, thehakereport.com. Okay? If you go to thehakereport.com, you can even do a buy me a coffee, even right through. I wonder how much I'm talking over here. Even right through thehakereport.com. I can even show it to you right now, honestly. But I don't really feel like showing it to you right now. So, thank you to Jesse Lee Peterson rating the stream. I'm live on pilled.net. Hopefully it's a smoother stream on the Hake Report than it was for Jesse Lee Peterson's Pilled today. Had major issues streaming. And that sometimes happens with these different platforms, okay? Even YouTube can be inconsistent. And YouTube is the dominant streaming and video platform in the universe, not just the world. At least the known universe, which, whatever. In the world, we'll just call it. That I know, that anybody knows of. So, and shout out to YouTube. Today, we're going to have Punchy TV streaming live. Okay, it's going to be Anchor Baby, Hake, and another special co-host that I think you may enjoy. So do tune in. That's going to be, you're going to get an hour break. It's going to be Hake for 2 hours here, Anchor Baby for 2 hours at 11 Pacific. And then that'll end at 1, and you'll get an hour, do your little push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups and jogging or whatever, stretch or whatever. Get up and stretch or get some actual work done. And then Punchy TV live streaming is the plan. It's Wednesday. So, very cool, I think. What's up, Christopher M. Medrano? Just in time. Hey, man. Nice to see ya. Nice to see fellow Gen X millennial, whatever you are. And there was a super chat that I was remiss in my duty to read yesterday. Cesar or Caesar or Cesar. He changed his name for me because of how I always say it. All right. And some interesting stuff going on in the world, by the way. There's this socialist mayoral candidate in New York City. You know what? Let me just make a quick point about that. You hear these prideful New Yorkers, prideful people, just like the rest of us, right? Just like the rest. Everybody's so, prideful or has to get past that. Most people don't. And New Yorkers are no exception. People say, oh, New Yorkers are rude, as if whatever. I don't buy into that. It's not like a special smear of New Yorkers. But look at New Yorker elected politicians and tell me they can see through bull. Boop. Sorry, kids. I actually said, I don't even talk like that. But they say, oh, we're New Yorkers. We can see through each other's bogus speech. BS. Don't get nervous. BS stands for bogus speech, kids. But don't say BS because other people may understand it to be something different. Sorry, guardians, parents, ladies. If I were sorry, I probably wouldn't have said it. But, yeah, New Yorkers can't see through lies. They elect huge socialist liars. They had a socialist mayor, Bill de Blasio, Wilhelm, whatever that guy's name was, who had a black lesbian wife, former lesbian, I guess, right? And a daughter who called him a white privileged or something, I think, a mixed race black daughter. Black and Jewish, is he? I forget what he is. Certainly Jewish adjacent, but the sensible Jews disclaim him. Bill de Blasio. I mean, they had Rudy Giuliani. He was okay. He did maybe more than okay. He was like America's mayor. He cleaned up the crime in New York City. But then they had these other lame-os. And then they got that black one. He's, hit and miss. Black Democrat, former cop, Eric Adams. And they're pretending like, oh, he's mired in controversy, maybe corruption or something. And what black politician isn't? Other than, the non-corrupt people like the great Clarence Thomas. But now they elected Ocasio-Cortez, Chuck Schumer, because Chuck Schumer, probably most of New York voted for him. Crying Chuck Schumer, Palestinian Chuck Schumer, Trump calls him. They can't see through bogus speech. And the reason that I say that is because these New Yorkers say, oh, we know Trump. We're New York. And Trump is your best asset and best claim to fame. Trump is a credit to you, you silly New Yorkers. Because Trump is, from New York. I scoff. And there's also something going on where this is a egotistical attachment to being poor or ghetto or being raised in the ghetto. These phony liberals who act like, oh, Marine Daniel Penny, who did the chokehold or whatever on the Michael Jackson impersonator, homeless guy who was having a fit and threatening people allegedly. He didn't have to do that. I'm from New York subways, and we see that kind of threats and acting out and violence all the time. It's just another day. Oh, you're so tough. You just look down and don't do anything. And maybe that's what Daniel Penny should have done. I don't know. But he didn't. He was trying to look out for the community, whatever. And then there's these people, Sandy Cortez. She said that she grew up, she's a Bronx girl. She moved into the Bronx and maybe, I don't know, and was like a bartender gal or something, according to what I've heard. And yeah, good for her. She can dabble in like rougher areas, right? Is the Bronx a rough area? I heard of Rumble in the Bronx. Jackie Chan got into a lot of fights in the Bronx, according to that movie. But she got exposed by our favorite Daily Wire Catholic, at least the top two or top five Daily Wire Catholics. My competitor himself, Knowles. Michael, I believe, Knowles, not to be confused with Beyonce's dad, Matthew Knowles. Michael Knowles. he exposed that gal, Sandy Cortez, as having grown up in a uppity suburb white neighborhood, according to him, as even nicer than his neighborhood, which is sort of neighboring, and it's way up north of the Bronx, a little ways. I don't know how far, but it looked reasonably far on a map. So that lady's, they call them champagne socialists. These like rich hoity-toity, dabble with the poors, the poor people, dabble with the criminal ghetto people. It's like me, if I were to say, oh, I'm from El Monte. I'm from Monte. I'm from El Monte, right? It's like a Mexican and Asian, but Mexican kind of ghetto area, or was at some different points. People would get shot. There would be tagging gangs, Mexican gangs, not black gangs, thankfully. So it's not that bad, but it's pretty bad. A little bit. You know, oh, I'm from El Monte. It's like that guy from the Swingers, and I'm not. I'm from Temple City. I went to El Monte for school as a kid, but I'm from Temple City. It's a nicer, quieter neighborhood just north of El Monte. More white, more better-to-do Asians, well-to-do Asians, white, some Hispanics, some Catholics. But I'm not from El Monte. I'm from Temple City. I went to school in El Monte with the El Monte friends. So if I were to run for office, I would be like, oh, I'm from the Monte. I'm from L.A. And that actor in that movie, I'm from L.A. I pulled out a gun. This actor guy, this character. And that one actor rolls his eyes, Anaheim. You're from Anaheim. It's hoity-toity Orange County. You're not from L.A. You're not tough. You didn't grow up in a tough area. You're from Anaheim, not L.A. So there's this thing where people act like they're from rough places and poor, and as if that's something to brag about, having grown up poor or in a rough area. And it's not anything to brag about. I knew a guy who grew up in a broken home. His mother, I guess, divorced his father, or maybe they never married, so he had a single mother, and she was dating other guys and different things, and you know, there was maybe drinking and violence and stuff that he grew up around. And so he thought he was tougher for that. But he soon found out he's not tougher for that. You're tougher and better off and a more sensible person and closer to reality when you're raised in a decent family with a decent and strong father. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? So I scoff at these phony New Yorkers and socialists. There's this socialist guy who's running for mayor. And he grew up it seemed he didn't grow up too rough either. So I scoff at that. Anyway, nice New Yorkers. It's like 15 minutes later. All right, anyway. And I have calls to get to. You know, I barely even got to Rick in Hampton, Virginia. Fun day today, hopefully. I had white neighbors before, said Rich Spirit. Hake. So amazing. Indeed. Indeed. But anyway, guys. Let's just, what in the world? Pardon me. Get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. And I do have the amazing Tar Baby t-shirt on, not to be confused with the Anchor Baby. Very nice. Jesse Lee Peterson's the amazing Tar Baby. Pardon my moving around on the mic. It says, adapted from the original Uncle Remus story by Joel Chandler Harris and from The Song of the South. And it has Jesse Lee Peterson's face in the Tar Baby thing. A Tar Baby with Brer Rabbit and Brer Bear. The beautiful Song of the South. Shout out to Disney. Back when Disney was based. I wonder if Disney was always a little actually debased. And people perhaps had a problem with them even back then. Because they were just representative of the times back then, and the times weren't fallen to the degeneracy of the times today, you know? Different times, and the times people are so blind and adopt all kinds of immoral morals and unethical ethics and silly ideas. I hesitate to say stupid ideas. What a mess. But anyway, if you go to a jesseleepeterson.shop, you can find yours, I think, right? You couldn't find the black ink version of that Never Tell a Woman Your Problems. Oh, look, hey, a little different look there. But anyway, I think if you go down here in the apparel section, you can probably find a version of the. There are multiple pages here, but I'll just type tar. Pardon me, t-shirt, 100% cotton. Yep, this is a size large that I got. Amazing Tar Baby t-shirt. There's a mug, and that one is a morphing mug. It responds to temperature, so tell me if you like it. Tell us if you like it. Tar Baby desk mat. I guess it is a mouse pad or desk mat. I don't know what that is. Cool. Anyway, hoodie, fun. Oh, and a hat. I was supposed to get a hat for, I forget who. But nice. So that's jesseleepeterson.shop. You know, before I go too much further and to get into your calls, lines are open. There's one line open. Lines are filling up. Cesar or Caesar or Cesar. 3 coffees yesterday. Sup, Hake? Sup, Cesar, Caesar. I'm driving all day today. This is yesterday. Okay. So had time to watch JLP and your show as well. By watch, he means listen, I'm pretty sure. Because when you're driving, hopefully you're watching the road. Unless it's self-driving, but even then you want to pay attention. Regarding Hayden, Haden, talking about he calls them small hats. I think that that's a little bit vulgar, slightly. It just, just call them, I don't know, you don't want to say Jews because that sounds too, what's the word? Whatever. Jewish people, we'll call them, because that sounds nice. Getting banned from various countries? Yeah, because they say the 109. I learned from probably some people in these different chats on these different shows, not necessarily ours. And also from the ADL website, that's a dog whistle or anti-Semitic, all one word, no hyphen, to make it seem more real. Sign about reference, right? And I'm like, what are these countries, right? Are they Muslim countries? What are they? And what is the state of those countries? Are they better off for having banned them? And is it apply today? What is it? He says, Caesar, according to his research, which consists of asking AI, which is not necessarily a reliable source, but it's, somewhat informed. It was more of an historical thing or a historical thing that's not in effect these days. Here's a little list according to AI, which you don't have to read, but I think I'll read it because it is sort of interesting. Gives you a little bit of context. If you don't know history, then you're kind of lost even still. But England in 1290 Presumably that's AD, right? I don't think England existed BC because they were the barbarians, right? Rome had it. Those Italians. Were the Romans the Italians? France, multiple times. France, man. For example, 1182 AD, the year of our Lord, 1306, 1394. Those are mind-boggling numbers. I can't even comprehend 1290 or 1182 or 1394. Spain in 1492. That's the year that Columbus, who they said was Jewish, by the way. Some white people say that Columbus was Jewish. I'm laughing, but it may be true. Whatever. Shout out to him. See? Anyway, 1492. That was Spain. Spain, but he wasn't sailing for Spain, right? He sailed. Was he Italian and sailing for Spain? Or was he Spanish and sailing for Italy? I think he was Italian and he sailed for Spain. Was he banished from, I don't know. Anyway, Portugal, 1497. Even those numbers are just mind-boggling. And that's a mere 500 years, 550, 530 some years-ish. Germany in various states in various times. Austria, 1421, 1670. Wow. Hungary, 1349, 1360, 1582. Lithuania, 1495. Poland, various cities and towns at different times. Russia / USSR, that's the Soviet Union or whatever. Various pogroms, whatever that is. I've heard of that, pogrom. And restrictions, especially under the Tsars and under Stalin. Italy, the best of Italy is yours. Various city-states at different times. Arab countries post-World War II, Egypt, Iraq, Libya, Syria, Yemen. Others include Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Switzerland. Okay, so, and Jewish people were, I think this has to do with the Ashkenazi mostly, right? The Ashkenazi ones who were like, people say Russian Jews, but I don't know. And so they were sort of a diaspora, meaning they're scattered among the nations, right? And the reasons, according to the AI report, according to Caesar or Caesar, were usually, and I don't like this phrase, but religious intolerance. I shake my head. I scoff at the notion of religious intolerance. I totally scoff at that. I was listening to this radio host. I'm going to interrupt this super chat to point out. People claim without evidence that diversity is a strength, a benefit, makes you more money if you're a company. And I think where they get this is that bigger companies get more diversity, right? And so they're pretending that correlation is causation when it's not. I shake my head and scoff a little bit at that notion. And because religious tolerance and intolerance, it weakens a country. Just look at America. Just look at all these other countries. Tolerance. That was a liberal buzzword when I was maybe going to be a teenager or preteen. I remember tolerate. I learned the word tolerate from a German foreign exchange student friend, childhood friend of my mother's, I think. I tolerate it. And so I looked it up. Coin shaving, that's a dishonest practice, right? You shave bits of a coin and then you keep the shavings and you can melt that together and make your own little coin, or I don't know, you have, coins used to be made out of something that's valuable. And they were worth something back in the day. All right? And so that was a dishonest practice that many of them did, according to, I gather, based on this report. Practicing usury, which is charging people interest. Any interest at all is usury, which was illegal in most countries back then. Okay, all right. And they got to the point where kings of these countries would borrow money from them, which would grant them, we'll say them, which is also a, you're not supposed to say them. They, who's they? Don't ask who's they. He says small hats, but I don't really like that phrase. Influence over the kings. Yeah, they would get influence over the kings. By hook or by crook, they would get influence over in power. And good for them, I guess, or and for better or for worse, you know. In many ways, not really good. You know, sort of like what's going on today, laughing face with tears. Now, Hake, quickly disavow everything I said. I disclaim it, I guess. As long as you can read it without getting in trouble, he says. Thank you, Cesar Caesar. Pretty interesting thing, huh? So, okay, it doesn't necessarily apply today, except for the Muslim countries, which aren't really doing well by shunning the Jews. Maybe there's a better way where you can, I don't know, there's got to be a better way. I know we can find a way. Because they're not the only evil in the world, obviously. The evil's in you, it's in me, it's in everybody. Just because they're resented for their leading role, as what one of them said, one of those gals said, we will be resented for our leading role. We have to go into a diversity mode. So, Hake, busy today, but I'll have a little time to show my support. I'll podcast JLP in your show later on the day. W Alpha back Hake, strong, tan, Latino, perhaps. Arm emoji, says Caesar or Cesar. Sweet. Well, thank you for the AI education. Let me double check while I'm here. Dustin, Mike, Dolphin Spirit 22, Buddy 1205, Age of Inversion. You got to be here somewhere, right? Mike Merge. I disavow noticing, by the way. Mike Merge didn't say that. Hake did. Son of Liberty, LGB. Where's Age of Inversion? Where's old son? Oh, there's Age. There are a lot more reasons than that, including abducting and ritually sacrificing Christian children. I'd heard of that one. I had heard of that one because I couldn't really sit through that 8-hour movie that you guys want everybody to watch. But I've caught little glimpses because I watch, you know, little snippets every now and then over the years of you guys' little shows or big shows, whatever. So I've seen little things that are like horrifying, child and whatever. And some people say, whatever, I don't know. Anyway. I'm live on punchy.tv. I'm shout out to Lin Yen Chin, Gregatron as always. What's up? Chirp. I don't know if I want to say this. Chirp Alerter. And Kilo Alpha Tango. Nice. Let me get to some calls. All right? Shout out to the Jewish people. We love them. If we love any of them. Yeah, Kevin, that one. I don't think I can't bring myself to be interested enough. Like, how do I know it's true? I don't really care. Whatever. Rick in Hampton, VA is on the line here, I think. Rick, how you doing, man?
What's up, James? The Hake Report.
Hey.
What's going on?
Not much, just hanging out, having a loosey-goosey Wednesday show of the Hake Report. How about you?
Hey, I'm doing good over here in Hampton, VA, James. It's so hot over here, but, you know, it's part of the field, man. HVAC. It's full effect today, brother.
Yep, nice. That's cool.
Yeah. Hey, I want to say, good job to you.
That is an important field. Heating,
and
air conditioning, and ventilation.
Yep.
That is
we can't get enough high school kids to come join it.
That is second to plumbing. Plumbing is probably
plumbing's
maybe the
most
important.
Highest trade that I know of.
Yeah.
But then also you got elevator mechanic technicians, they make good money as well.
Yeah. A lot of people can't
Electricians,
climb those stairs or don't really have time and stuff. Yeah, nice. That's cool too.
you know, a lot of them, today's kids, there, James, a lot of them just don't get introduced to the trades because most of them come from single mothers. And 9 out of 10, you're not going to see a mother in a trade hardly ever, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then you go to public school system, they just ransack them kids to college,
Yeah.
and they never get introduced to it.
So evil, man. I remember when I was in high school, it was all about college prep or something like that. What are you going to major in college? What field are you going to work in?
College.
Yeah, it's
I
ridiculous.
was wanting to do the public school, get a kickback from putting kids in college.
Wow. Yep.
I
Nice.
can't prove that, but, you know, I just always wanted that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and I also wanted to say, James, good response to y'all, man. Jesse's medical issue Sunday. What's that doing service?
Yeah, that was during the church service on Sunday. He had apparently locked his knees and that's enough to take down even a soldier or a young man, vibrant man. So it could just have been the locked knees from lack of practice of standing and pacing around on that stage because he'd been sitting most Sundays for the past maybe year or two. So he's out of practice standing.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good, man. You guys did a great job, man, from Nick to all the staff, man. Y'all responded well, man, and Jesse Baby Levy came up and said, hey, what's going on? What's up? I mean, he must have beat.
Yeah, indeed.
But anyway, man, great job, man, for you guys, all y'all, man.
Right.
From Nick all to the whole staff members and Jesse himself, man. I pray that God get blessed him with supernatural health. And I just want to get, man, to President Trump, man. I truly believe something good will come out of this Iran-Israel thing if people have a wait-to-see attitude. And you know how the media going to spin everything, man. Make it like World War III is going to happen next Thursday on that mess, you know?
Right. I think that is, I think you may be right because Trump is underestimated, we'll call it, by many.
Yeah, because the media just had everybody hating Trump. You can ask the average person, why do you hate Trump for? It would take them an hour to figure out why they really hate him.
Yeah.
What the media has poisoned them with, you know?
So true, man. So true.
You know, the media, that's the only information they get of Trump is what the media put out, and they run to the bank with that. It's just like I see, you know, like most of your Christians, man. I can say it's for the black community. Most of them are Democrats. Now I'm starting to see some white Christian Democrats too. But
I know
God clearly reveals the things they like, and how can you, as not a Christian, can discern that? I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me. Now, most black people say they've been brainwashed that the Republican Party is racist, so they say we're support the Democratic Party, and yet they only got that because the Democrats have successfully reversed that and make it seem like the Republicans are racist. But I do wish the Republicans would try and compete for the black votes more because, see, when they don't come there, they just tend to believe whatever the media and the Democrats put out.
that's right. They totally do. They're suckers.
You know, and,
people really all talk the same as their group. If they don't talk the same, they're more sophisticated fakers. Yeah.
It's just amazing, man. It's just like nobody can think for themselves anymore. Everybody's going on TikTok. Man, drive-by media, as Rush Limbaugh used to call them.
Yeah.
And it's mind-boggling, James. You know,
It is.
I ask Christians, how do you support the Democratic Party? Well, the Republican Party is racist. When? What's your evidence? I mean, now I do wish the Republicans would start campaigning, even if they know they ain't gonna get that much of a vote, but at least still tell them that, hey, this is who we are. This is not we are not what the Democrats say who we are.
Right.
You know, and I'm starting to see some white Christians become Democrats.
Right.
I mean, if you see the Democratic Party supporting transgenderism, same-sex marriage, abortion, even if the baby come out alive, still crush his head. I mean, you see it. God give you revelation. How do you not see that?
Yeah. It is, I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy. What a mess.
I guess we got to let them folks suffer there, James. You know, like, it seems like you're not going to convince them otherwise, man, so just got to let them suffer.
Right. It's true, man.
Yep.
Very interesting. Times people are blind.
You better know it there, Brother James, for sure.
It's good to hear from you. Your phone is all... There's must
can't
be
hear
all...
me?
No, it's just that there's all kinds of noise anytime you talk. I don't know if you're on a speakerphone or if it's just... you must have one of those phones
I have
that... What's that?
Yeah, I have my earpiece on while I'm driving.
That's what's probably... Oh, okay. You're driving. Right on, man.
Yes.
Well, it's
So
good to
I
hear
was
from you,
called-
Rick.
Yes, James. Sorry for the bad connection, my brother.
Well, it's not the worst I've ever heard. So thank you, man.
Hey, tell Jesse, man. Yesterday I wasn't on there, but I waited like an hour today, and he didn't get to me today.
I know. That's what happens sometimes. You never know.
Man, yeah, man. You know, so I went on y'all shows, man. Sometimes I wait on like an hour for your show, Joel's show.
Yep.
And give my regards to Joel as well, too, man. I'm praying that he come back. So, all right, guys, we love y'all, man. Be blessed, man. Keep bringing the truth on there, James.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Bye. David in Ocala, Florida, on the line here. David, what's up, man?
Mr. Hake.
Hey.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Hey, I saw like a video. I was actually flipping through these like little shorts or something, you know, those little 15-second videos people put together.
Yes.
I don't know if it's on X or YouTube or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Okay. Did you make one up about that conversation that we had about Pearl?
I did.
That was you.
And I included that. I found, I don't know if you noticed at the end there.
Yeah,
I found where you're like, you know, I thought that it would work between Hake and Pearl, but she is out of Hake's league.
Yeah. Well, you're not really out of her league.
Or she's out of my league.
I was just teasing. I was teasing with you, you know. Yeah. You know, I found that at 1:00 in the morning.
Oh, nice.
I just started busting out laughing. You know,
Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, of course. That was
page.
that was a great moment. It was funny. It was
Cool.
amusing, and she's like a big name. So hey, I thought that people would find some human interest in that topic.
Well, I want to talk about a couple of things before I talk about the growing up tough thing, you know, that you brought up real quick. Because, you know, diversity, man, is not God. I don't think God really, you know, in the end, diversity is going to be okay because all these different races are going to be in heaven and stuff. But you notice how he always made them Israelites stay with themselves. You follow what I'm saying? They didn't let nobody else in the camp, you know, or the you know. They were separated. He separated them.
Yeah,
okay?
it would be very rare for an outsider to get in, such as like Rahab, the prostitute who helped them get into Jericho. I think she might have married somebody who was an Israelite, and she was allowed in. But it was just very selective, and when you think about it, the church right now, like the real church, JLP. And others, it's like, it is diverse. Like he's black, and there's whites, there's like some Asians, but it's natural. It happens naturally. It's not contrived, and it's not a big old crowd.
Yeah, it's not forced on you like they forced this on our country.
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
there's satanic diversity, and then there's natural, God-made, just natural coming together.
What, you know, now you know that I'm older, what I can't understand is how these people in our nation actually still believe that our government is for us.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know?
I peruse Reddit, and they always look to the government to provide some information or how-to or solution or program. It's ridiculous. They're so naive.
Well, see, when you like, I caught the tail end of the hippie era, and in Vietnam had just gotten over, like, say, when I was 10 years old, okay? I saw them veterans come back. So and anyway, I look back to then, and I look at Vietnam, Iraq 1 and 2, 9/11, all that stuff, and I think what did that? None of that mattered. All we brought home was a bunch of wounded soldiers, okay? And then this last thing, we left billions of dollars worth of, war supply, helicopters, planes, whatever, all that stuff we left over there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're crazy.
It is.
Here, yeah. But I saw a little clip of Jesse was talking to some woman he was interviewing with her, and he's got a real good point. He's told her, show me a place that blacks built that people want to go and move there.
There is.
You there?
Yeah. I'm listening, and I can't think of one, and I don't think she could name one either.
I was waiting for her to say Atlanta, okay, because that's probably about that close. That's where I was born.
Yeah.
That was about the closest place that I figured that's what she was going to bring up. And, Jesse is right. They do destroy a bunch of stuff. I mean, it's a wild bunch. So anyway, when I was 13, I moved out of Gainesville, and I told you before, and I moved to this little black community,
Okay.
And I came out of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, sunken-in living room house with a fireplace, man, and was moved into this house that was built in like 1892.
Yep.
And about a half a mile where I lived was this hood. I mean, just a black hood. And when you went back into this place, it seemed like you walked into 1930s.
Oh yeah.
The houses.
Yeah.
So that helped toughen me up, man, because it mentally is what I'm calling about. Like that mentally, there's a way life toughens you up mentally.
Yes.
So watch this, Hake. One day I'm sitting in this black girl's house. They were playing cards, and I'm smoking cigarettes. I'm sitting on her couch.
How old are you?
13 and a half. Maybe.
13 and a half smoking
maybe
cigarettes.
14. Maybe 14.
Uh-huh.
This was a wooden house with a wooden...
This is in the 70s.
No, this is in like 79 or 80.
Okay.
Because I didn't turn 15 until December of 80. Anyway.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm sitting in her house on a couch, and it's a wooden floor, and there's a hole in the floor. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know how this hole got there, but I looked through the hole, and there's a weed growing up through the dirt, man. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks, man. You get it?
That they just don't take care of their stuff?
No, that I had just left this beautiful house, okay? And now I'm sitting in a house with a girl who's got a hole in the floor, and I'm literally watching a weed growing up through the dirt.
That's funny.
It blew my mind, okay?
Yeah.
Or, and then another time, right after that, they had 3 juke joints in this place. They called them shops, okay? But, there were juke joints, and every Friday and Saturday night, people would come down there and party. Anyway, 2 of my
kind of like
friends,
a party house type of place?
Well, the whole community turned into a party land on Friday and Saturday night.
Oh, wow. Like a whole block party.
Yeah, like you would walk down the streets, and there'd be nothing but cars, like Buick, Electra 225s.
Wow.
I don't know if you've heard of them. Impalas. Just all kinds of nice cars lined up. These people would come from 2 different towns, Ocala and Gainesville. This place was like right in the middle of Ocala and Gainesville, so they would drive up together to party. Anyway, so my friend said, hey, let's go in here and get, this lady's going to sell us some beer. There was this one shop that this lady, she was selling some beer evidently. And I walked in there, and there was 50 people in there. And when these kids brought me in there, it was like time stopped. Every eye looked at me.
Is that because you were a white kid?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And listen, I really believe this was God telling me this, because this is the thought that I got. And you got to realize I'm only 14. The thought I got, this is what I heard in my head, and I believe it was God. He said, this is the same look they've been getting all their lives.
because when they step into a white dominant area, they get that look.
Yeah.
So it's just the look of an outsider or a strange face, basically.
Well, the look in their eyes at first, it was bad, you know, like they were like mad, and then they noticed that I was with these two other black kids, and then they turned. It changed everything. Like this all went down in 5 seconds.
Okay.
Boom, bam, bam, maybe 10 seconds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that, you know, that kind of stuff like that as growing up, got me, helped me because it humbled me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you felt you understood what the blacks go through as getting prejudged, experiencing prejudice from whites.
Yeah, but see, it should be over. But if you notice on the television set, like they got a show out with like Colin Kaepernick as a little kid, but being adopted by his 2 white parents.
Okay.
Getting all this racial hate. Have you ever seen that show?
I've never seen it. So it's like a documentary type of thing, or dramatized
show. Yeah, he's like 14 playing baseball, and
so it's an actor who plays a 14-year-old Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, with his white adopted family, and everywhere they go, some white person comes up and insults him. And,
that's so funny. That reminds me of, I saw something. Oh, I saw some preview to some show or movie of Trump. A few years ago, maybe several years ago, they came out with this Trump movie. So this actor portrays a young, up-and-coming Trump who gets trained about things, and they portray this young Trump character citing these rules for success in life, and it's not honest, and it's very cutthroat. And I'm like, this is such projection and imagination.
Yeah, propaganda.
Yeah, it's total propaganda. That's what reminds me. That's what I'm reminded of. And also these movies by this black female director who did like the Selma movie, which is an MLK movie. And when they see us or something like that, the Central Park 5 Netflix series or whatever it is, it's all, like you said, total racial, anti-white, victimhood, phony propaganda, playing like it was so bad for the blacks. Ridiculous.
Right.
Interesting, man.
Well, I'll leave you this. There's a guy, I forget, he's a comic, and he brought up how Michelle Obama, when she spoke at the DNC, how people don't want to listen to a strong black woman. She's basically saying America's racist. And anyway, he goes, they're worth $100 million, okay? They're over $100 million. They should be thinking America. You got what I'm saying? Because where else in the whole wide world could them two people be worth over $100 million?
Yeah.
See, but just keep pushing that race thing, man. But, it's going to get worse with all these illegals because a lot of people are going to just, I'm borderline racist right now as we speak, buddy.
Yeah, I know. And what's funny is that it happened mainly, I think, because of the media and the way that they themselves are acting and presenting themselves on the internet, I would think, unless you're experiencing some stuff firsthand. But it's like, it's not like you're radicalized by Mark necessarily or whatever, or some other, the right wing. You're radicalized by how ridiculous they're acting. The media.
No, I'm radicalized. I'm radicalized when I go into Walmart and I walk up to an employee and she's from like Japan or China or something, and she can't even tell me where to go find the AC filters. Okay, you get what I'm saying?
So much for customer service.
Well, it's not just that. We're walking in there, man, and it looks like a third world country. It looks I was in, and it triggers me, man, because there's one white old woman at the cash register, and the rest of these people are Spanish, or from, they're from Venezuela.
Right.
It's
Spanish speaking. Yep.
Yeah, and there's no white people, man, hardly no more, man. It's like, it's incredible. I cannot, y'all are used to it out there in California, but Florida.
I grew up like that. Yep.
Yeah, but
although it's gotten maybe worse, maybe more extreme.
Yeah, it's just hard to handle. I'm just glad I'm 60, man, because I figure, I might got 15 left, Hake. You know what I'm saying?
You think you're gonna check out at 75? That's kind of morbid.
Well, it's because I
fit.
just don't know with all the...
You're pretty slim. You're pretty fit. As long as you're sleeping enough and drinking enough water or whatever, not too much, eating decently, getting exercise, which you obviously are.
Hey, I did a lot of stuff to my body, man, as a kid that I didn't, I know,
but so did Iggy. What's that guy?
Iggy Pop.
Iggy Pop, and how old is he? I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, you mean, or the guy from...
I don't know how much Iggy Pop did, but he just looks like he's maybe done a lot of stuff. I don't know. What were you about to say?
Look, I started smoking when I was 10, and I quit at 24. So there's just no telling what I did to my lungs.
But there's also no telling what rebirth or repairing has taken place since that time either. Because a childhood vaccine can affect your whole life, your entire lifespan. I don't know. For the better or for the worse, and there's all kinds of different things. What's that?
Here, how about that? I'll let you go with this. My mother was so worried that I was going to bring COVID home to my wife. Okay, who's been diabetic since she was 9 years old, but she's really in great health. If you saw her, you'd think she was 10 years younger than what she is. Anyway, so I went and I got the shot. And a week later, I had COVID.
Oh, wow. Yep.
And I was so sick, Hake, that I drove myself to this place that they set up in the villages in Florida in a movie theater.
Yeah.
And to get the antibody shot, okay? But I thought I was going to get one shot. I went in there, Hake, and they hit me 2 times in the back of both of my arms. They shot me up 4 times with whatever they put into me.
Whoa.
And I've never been the same.
This was for the China virus?
Yeah, this was the antibodies that they had, which one it was. It hit me in the back of both of my arms. And my energy levels went to crap ever since, dude.
Okay.
I feel like I'm melting away like chocolate out in the sunshine. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, don't let it get into your head, because if it gets into your head, you may imagine and create more problems than would naturally happen if you weren't in your head about it. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right, man. Well, hey, thanks for taking my call. Y'all have a great day.
All right.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that short. That was really cool. Okay.
I thought so too. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. All right. Take it easy, buddy. Bye.
Bye. Wow. Sebastian, a first-time caller from Italy, is on the line here. Sebastian, thank you for calling and holding, man. You're live on the Hake Report.
Oh, wow. That's so crazy to hear you live, man.
Nice. Cool.
So can you hear me well?
I can. You're the best sounding caller yet in terms of your connection, I think.
Oh, good. Because it's quite windy.
Oh, okay. Well, I might be picking up a little bit of in and out wind, but let's deal with it. Go ahead.
Okay. So first, I wanted to thank you all. I'm you, Jesse, and everyone in your team. I wanted to thank you for everything you do, because it made my life a lot easier in some kinds, but a lot better in general.
Yeah. Cool.
So
right on.
Thanks.
And how did it do that?
I wanted to. Well, I had all my life. So as far as I can think back, I had this underlying anger in me that it distorted everything and made me always unsatisfied and angry and not well.
Yeah.
So when I heard Jesse Peterson talk about forgiving your parents, and that is a way to, get rid of this anger. So first of all, I couldn't believe it, that it would be so easy.
Right.
Like that it was so simple, I didn't have to go to therapy for 15 years or something like that. So I tried it, and it took me like 2 or 3 times. I didn't get it really well the first time. And but then I started to understand what Jesse and you guys were talking about, and I did it again. So I forgave them again, and now I don't have this underlying anger and this resentment anymore, and it makes life better.
That makes a lot of sense. That's cool.
So, but I have but I have another question, because I'm having such a hard time to make decisions, because my life was such a mess for, I'm 33 years old. I forgave them like 2 years ago. So for 31 years, I couldn't trust myself with decisions,
Yeah.
because they came from ego or from my false nature or whatever you want to call it. So I'm having a hard time making decisions still. And I wanted to ask if you think if it is even possible to make a wrong decision.
I think it is. You sound like you wanted to say more to your question.
Yeah, I wanted just to say, not these kinds of decisions where you see a shark in the water and you jump in. Not this. Of course, you can. Would be a wrong decision.
Right.
But since I was so messed up, even now, if I wanna, and I'm still kind of messed up in some regards, so I wanna go visit my old friend. He lives like 4 hours from here. But then, knowing myself, being such a mess, and so I kind of don't go through with this because I don't trust myself. So how do I make decisions if I used to be such a mess? You understand my question?
Not exactly.
I don't know if I
mean, I get, well, but you're kind of, it sounds like you're judging your former, what you used to be. And
yeah, maybe a little.
What's your dilemma, your decision that you're thinking of making, but you're not sure you should, is to go see an old friend.
Right. But I don't know if this decision comes from ego and from from the way I was. So I don't know if I'm slipping back to my old self, like kind of angry and everything, and I'm making the decision from that thing, or if it's are we free to make those decisions, or do I need to be worried all the time? Is it the right decision? Does it come from ego? Does it not come from ego?
So you don't know what to do.
Yeah, because I'm scared to make a decision coming from the ego.
Oh. And what's making you scared?
To make a mistake. That's why I was asking, is it possible to make a wrong decision?
But do you realize it sounds like the ego is scared? And you're consulting with, you're thinking and pondering and trying to decipher or figure out or it's like you're groping around in the dark over thinking about this, whether to go or not. And it doesn't, my suspicion, what I think, without being you, since I'm not in your body, in your situation, and I don't know your friend, I don't know what the circumstance of the last time you knew him was, or her, then I would, without knowing anything, my advice, if you're well, you're not even necessarily asking me for advice for what to do, huh? Are you? Are you asking me advice of what to do?
Not on this specific situation. I'm asking more, how do I make a decision that is, or can I avoid making a wrong decision? Should I just go ahead with what I want?
Not necessarily.
Right.
Not necessarily, because you don't know what you want, really. Otherwise, you wouldn't be tormenting over it.
Right, yeah.
And,
right.
Like with this situation, sometimes in idle times, I'll text a friend or I'll hit up a friend or whatever. I'll call a friend, an old friend, and it will set off a series of events. Oh, come to this, go to that. And so it ends up altering the course of the events in my life, and the things that I end up doing. I'll go to this and visit this person, and they'll say this to me, and it'll put me in a funk, and it's not necessary, and it may have been better had I not even got in touch with the person, or had I not gone to the thing. And so oftentimes that's just like a whole bunch of ego to try to want to get in touch with the friend. And you definitely, I think that one of the things that could help is let that urgency and confusion pass. Let that excitement and affection feeling for the old times with this friend pass. Let the nostalgia pass. And then in calm, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But in the Bible and in common sense, Jesus and the truth say, don't worry, but you're worrying. And that's not right. I mean, that's just going to keep you in darkness. And you have fear, or you think that you have this fear, but it's just keeping you in confusion, thinking about something that you don't even need to be thinking about at all. Let the thoughts about your friend pass. Let the thoughts about contacting or not contacting, or seeing or not seeing them pass. Just go about your life, because you don't need. It doesn't sound like there's some real need, practical need for this friend's help or anything. No. And in life, a lot of the times, your friendships are by like convenience of you work with them, or you are their neighbor or whatever.
It just.
What's that? You cut out there. Sebastian.
Very, that's very true for sure.
Okay, yeah, you cut out, but I heard you say that's very true for sure.
Yeah.
So don't torture over it. I suggest let it pass, because you can be like, it doesn't matter. I can't even make a wrong decision, or whatever I decide. If I end up suffering the consequences, so be it. That's not it sounds like a foolhardy thought to believe about how to go about your life.
What does that mean?
Sometimes,
sorry, my English is...
Oh, foolhardy means foolish.
Yeah.
It means that you believed a thought about what to do, rather than... Because a thought will get you excited and give you a false sense of urgency. Oh, yeah, I need to do this. And then you'll have this excitement and stuff. And whereas if you let it pass, and then maybe eventually you do contact the person, I don't know, or maybe you don't, but you'll stay with peace. Oh man, is it SERBASTION? I-A-N? Hold on. What in the world?
Yep.
S-E-R.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sort of.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, it's breaking up pretty badly. I'm going to put you on hold just to see if I can have Derek get your phone right or have you hang up and call right back just to iron out that last little bit. I'm going to put you on hold. Hang on. Derek, check on him. Thank you, sir. Nice. Derek suggests it sounds like he wants to play God. See ya, friend? I totally relate to this. I think a lot of people relate to it. I called it Sebastian. I may be butchering his name. So, sorry about that. Anyway, in the meantime, let me talk with a caller whom I banned, but I don't know if he knows that I banned him. Joe in Phoenix, Arizona. How you doing, man?
Good. Good morning, James.
Good morning.
Did you say you banned me?
I had announced that I banned you because you always talk about stuff that could get me banned. And
I do?
Yeah. You talk about stuff that's said on my show that could get me banned. And I don't like that. And it's like just gives me the creeps and heebie-jeebies. And so I had banned you, but I don't think you ever realized that I banned you. And I never got around to get into your call because you call in sometimes and you're on hold. I'm like, oh, should I take him? Should I not? And then you drop off before I get around to you. And so...
Yeah, as you know, I've been busy, but I didn't know I was banned. I'm glad you took my call today. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So you don't see that as me giving you a heads up, huh? You saw it as me trying to give you the heebie-jeebies, really?
Not that you're trying to give me the heebie-jeebies. It's just I don't know, your approach is. I think that my greatest chat moderator of all time, I should have let him ban you from the chat a long time ago. No offense, nothing personal. Hopefully, but.
Yeah, well, hopefully someday you'll come to see that I was actually trying to help you.
Nice. No, in fact, I kind of think that that is your intention, but intentions are subversive because intentions are oftentimes emotions. And there's more than just that, though, because you're also kind of sort of communist, as you know.
We never agree on that. All right, so
at least I guess we'll have one last little nice conversation and amicably part ways. Anyway, I appreciate you, man. And I appreciate your pastor friend. Go ahead. I have this.
Well, hopefully you won't ban me.
But I already did.
As we discussed last time, I'm not bringing up anyone who can say stuff that will get you in trouble. So I'm just not going to do that anymore.
Nice. Right on.
I'm going to leave it to your own devices on that. So if that was the problem, hopefully you won't ban or you will unban me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Anyway, Trump. So higher housing prices, higher grocery prices, higher gas prices. You're still happy with what he's doing so far? More wars.
Yeah, I totally love what he's doing. I mean, I don't know necessarily. I can't necessarily judge everything because bombing Iran, that's his decision. I basically trust him, though. He has not betrayed my trust that I've seen at all. And I just can't picture him doing that because look at his spirit. It is so real. Do you notice how real he is?
No, we're never going to agree on Trump. So you're fine with the higher prices and more wars.
Is that a no? You don't notice how real he is?
He's not real, so we don't agree on that.
Okay. All right. Nice.
Yeah.
Are you real?
So interesting. I'm sure you believe I'm not. But it is, as you know, I don't have much time to listen to your show, but I do listen to some replays, and it's glorious to hear your Keystone cops call in and complaining and whining about wanting a all-white homeland and bringing back segregation. And can you give me an example of how whites are under attack, James?
Yeah, people cry racism on them all the time, and it's so ridiculous. It's so phony.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
crying
Have you
racism
noticed that?
is attacking a lot of people.
What's that?
No, not really. No, I'm really trying to understand why so many of your callers feel
So
like
you
white
haven't
people are
really
under attack.
you haven't really noticed this increase in the use of the term racism levied against white people since Obama got in office and all that? You haven't noticed that?
No, of course not. Have not.
What do you mean? Of course not.
Of
Okay,
course
well,
not,
look it
'cause
up.
It's not real.
Oh, I know it. I know racism is not real, and I know their complaints are all in their head, but it's it's even noted in the mainstream media. I'm surprised, and also it's just everywhere, all over the headlines over the past decade and a half or more. So I'm
fascinating. It's truly fascinating because when I hear like the NOI or other radical black groups, they say the same thing, just in reverse.
What do they
black
say?
Black people are under attack.
They are big time. They've been under the attacks escalated like crazy with Obama. He attacked them like a maniac.
Black people?
Obama did attacked black people like crazy, like a maniacal demon or maniacal.
How did he do that?
He cried racism. He pretended Trayvon Martin. If I had a son, he would look like Trayvon, suggesting that Trayvon's blackness, this color of his skin, and the physical features are the sole reason why he looked suspicious to George Zimmerman.
I would say that's accurate, but we're not going to agree on that either.
That's why you're one of my former what people call a co-host. That's what my other co-host. That's why he calls you a snake and a communist, because you just can't. You're like Obama. You just lie and lie through your teeth. Although maybe you're just so blind. Is it possible that he's just blind and addicted to these lies? Does he know he's lying?
No, I'm fact-based and truthful, unlike you and that complete idiot, evil, vile co-host you talk to.
I agree that he's an evil, idiot, and vile because he's angry, which is not right. But are you an evil, idiot, and vile because you're angry and judgmental and looking down on your fellow white Christian brother, because you're part white too. You're looking down on your fellow American who just thinks like a fellow American, but on the slightly opposite end, because you're more communist and he's more Nazi, I guess.
We disagree on all that.
Right.
That's okay.
But that's not, so you don't see your vile evil?
No, because I help everyone regardless of skin color.
Nice. He does too.
No, he doesn't.
He would help his black female neighbor, which I think he's done before.
And he's also said he don't want to see another
regardless of color, which is like a hallmark of being white, is in these white countries, and you yourself part white, you help everybody regardless of color.
And he also
but I think you're more into the blackness than you admit.
It's a cost. You have no proof of that, and I'm not.
You like Obama. You think Obama was a good president. Yep, exactly.
Because he did a great job.
You and Ronnie are way more into your blackness than you realize, than you admit, than you can see. Everybody else,
great job as president.
Everybody else can see right through the phony intellectual excuses for supporting Obama, except for you guys. And I like Ronnie. Ronnie is a friend of the show, a friend of JLP, and he agrees with Jesse on the anger thing. And he's not I don't think he's as communist, maybe slightly indoctrinated as you, but it's so interesting.
3 of those calls. He does a decent job. He needs to be more fact-based and prepared, but for the most part, does a decent job. And shout out to CJ also.
CJ's
he does a
cool,
good job
huh?
with
Yeah. But CJ's vicious sometimes. I don't know if it's vicious. He says that in person, he's really a loving person. CJ, you better question yourself. You're getting supported by the snake. Mark is going to gloat so badly. Anyway, it's funny.
As we talked, you can call me a snake. That's calling me Martin Luther. So thank you. That's a compliment.
Was Martin Luther really so good?
He was, absolutely. He's someone that I respect in history a great deal.
My dad went to a Lutheran church, and I have a Lutheran friend and family member. So shout out to the Lutherans and Martin Luther.
Absolutely.
I just don't know.
All right.
I mean, the Catholics aren't. I think the establishment of any religion just gets corrupted because it's the power-hungry people are attracted to it, or it just draws out the evil. You know how they say power corrupts, or it reveals the corruption of the evil people. It's not like the powerless people are uncorrupt. They're not righteous.
Well, I hate to agree with you, but we actually agree on that.
Yeah. Why do you hate to agree with me? We're friends, sort of. Fiends.
Sort of. Well, like frenemies, maybe. Okay, so again, the Keystone Cops that call your show, your fan base. You know, James, as I told you before, 57% of black men now are in the middle class in terms of income, and even better than that, almost 1 in 5, 16% now make over 6 figures. That's great progress. And as I've tried to explain to you over the years, the bigger your economic impact, the bigger your political impact. And that's what's coming, and 2045 is coming. And
2045 is when the prediction is, some predict that whites will be among the minorities. There'll be less than 50% of the population. Will just be a plurality.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I think that's really what the Keystone Cops are afraid of.
Yeah, because the other races are not as fair-minded and justice for all oriented as the whites have been historically.
Well, we disagree on that, and we're not going to agree on that, but that's okay. So that's the reality. And again, I've told you before, 95.7% of Americans, according to HHS, retire dependent on family, charity, or the government. So while your Keystone Cops are so worried about the blacks and the browns, the haves are continuing to absolutely take them to the cleaners every single day. So all you Keystone Cops out there that have JOBs, JOB stands for just over broke.
Okay,
yeah.
Just over broke.
Exactly, and that's where you're going to be. You're going to end up in that 95% for sure. While you're worrying about and being so concerned about the blacks, which is asinine and
well, we want to stay alive.
Crazy.
We don't want to get. Nobody wants to get robbed or assaulted or harassed and stuff like that. It's not a.
Of course, and no one's doing that.
Being just over broke is not so bad if you have relatively civilized neighbors. You know, we're comfortable slaves.
According to Forbes, the
Uh-huh.
average American has less than $2,000 in their savings account for an emergency.
Terrible.
That is not
it's not right.
comfortable.
It's not good. Yeah.
That is not comfortable. That is stressful and leads to a terrible life, especially if you have medical issues.
Oh, yeah.
So, continue to go ahead and be focused on the blacks and all the other nonsense.
But we're not even. I'm definitely not focused on the blacks. I talk about them because they're entertaining and I love them. If I love anybody, and they're part of my audience and caller base and everything. And I've just gotten to know them a lot over the past 15 or 17 or 18 years, and so they're not a focus at all, I'd say. But anyway,
well, we disagree on that
point.
too, especially for the callers, especially like that. I still have hope for Hayden in Texas that he will grow out of the nonsense, but we'll see. For
Nice.
people like your other co-host, the evil co-host, it's too late for him. And I heard the other day you were
aren't you a
lamenting
Christian?
that.
You don't believe in redemption even for the elderly or the upper middle age?
It's not for me to say.
Yeah.
I'm not
so
God.
Then you shouldn't say it's too late for anybody. As long as you're alive, you have a chance.
Okay, that is a hopeful message that I guess we can agree on.
So extend some love for your fellow co-host.
No, I hope he dies. I really do.
Is that love?
Yeah, absolutely. It's getting less evil in the world.
That's
just like
that's
you
terrible.
were saying.
I definitely disclaim
about,
this. I disclaim and maybe even disavow that sentiment.
Oh,
Obviously.
well, yeah, that is a good point. I see you have some disclaimers now on written disclaimers, and you've said some
Right.
or audio disclaimers.
Yeah, because
that's good. I hope you talk to counsel about that, because while they're decent, there's still a lot of holes in that, and I'm not familiar with California law on that. But
nice.
I'm hoping you're talking to counsel about that.
I mean, it should be common sense. In more decent and Christian times and high trust society times, it would be common sense that you represent you, I represent me, and you shouldn't even pay too much attention to what you or I say. You know what I mean? But we don't live in common sense times.
We can agree on that. I mean, what first got me calling into Jesse all those years ago was Dylan Roof.
Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof.
As I think you know. Yeah.
Dylan Storm. I didn't know that was what got you calling him. You've really held on to that one, though. Dylan Roof, the guy who shot up that black church because he wanted to start a race war. Little did he know.
Well, according to him, his own words, that he thought, quote unquote, black men were raping white women out of control.
Yeah.
And I tried to explain to Jesse that if a white woman is raped, the odds are overwhelming that it's a white man doing the raping.
Right.
Just due to proximity alone. But Jesse didn't want to hear that and said that Dylan Roof was correct in his reasoning, which really set me off and got me calling all those years ago.
Yeah, and you misinterpreted his statement. But thank you, Joe. Got to run, man.
All right.
And I shall consider whether or not to unban you. But nice final conversation for the meantime. Take care, man.
All right, James. Okay.
All right. I heard the horse. Let me get back to Sebastian in Italy before I get to the rest of your calls. Sebastian, his phone had broken up a bit. So let me see. Sebastian, would you spell your name for me over there in Italy?
I can try, but my spelling is not the best.
Well, I think Derek got it right, or Nick. Go ahead.
So it's SEBASTIAN.
That sounds right to me. That's how I would spell it. Thanks, man.
Nice.
Sebastian the Crab.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking my call again. Just a quick question, because I said I was so scared of making decisions, and it's because I'm scared of making wrong decisions. So I wanted to ask you, does God judge me in case I make a wrong decision? Because
I really don't think so. I think you just end up messing up, quote unquote, your life, your physical life here in the world by making the wrong decision.
Right, so I suffer the consequences for the wrong decisions.
But you know what? You're saying all this I, me, and stuff like that. Ponder one, why that the fact that you're worried about it and thinking about it, because that's not right to do. And ponder why you're thinking about it as suffering and you suffer the consequences, and why you're thinking about God's judgment and linking that to like suffering and the consequences. I don't know. I think that life works itself out, but that's not an excuse to be foolhardy with making what you think are decisions. Nor is it a reason to worry or do the opposite of worry, which is to pretend not to worry.
Right. So I can go ahead in life and take decisions, and sometimes I will suffer the consequences for it. Sometimes it's going to be fine, and I have to figure it out along the way.
I suppose so, but maybe the best thing is not to make decisions until it's clear. Until it's clear which way to go.
Until it's clear.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say a train is coming. Do you jump to the left or jump to the right? you just jump out of the way. That's
Yeah,
you are forced to make a decision and go with it. And
I like that.
you know, and then you're like,
Yeah,
oh no,
that
I should have gone to the left, because now I have to face a bunch of ninjas. And I do mean actual ninjas. I'm not talking about blacks. But there's times like that where you have to do something, and then you do it. Like I like the thing when you don't know what to do. Do you know what to do when you don't know what to do?
Hello?
Yeah. Do you know what to do when you don't know what to do?
No, wait it out maybe. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So say you have made a decision, and then you have your mind start to second guess that decision.
Right.
Like you make a decision, let me take this job. And you start to second guess that decision, and then your mind gives you all these reasons why you shouldn't have taken that job, and then you quit. That's not a good thing to do, because now you're just following the second guesses. You stick with the job. You do nothing, and you do what you're supposed to do, which is go to work.
Okay.
So, like you say,
So don't.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
So I would get lost in my head. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Like don't consult with your mind. Your mind is dark. God's thoughts are not yours.
You can say that. Yeah. Man, that's so true.
Yeah. It's not even your mind. It's, you know how people say, oh, think for yourself. I was questioning whether there is such a thing as thinking for yourself. There's either something that's presented to you that you think you see clearly, or there's you whatever. But it's if you don't go with these doubts and thoughts and worries and trying to figure out, you're more at peace. You stick
beforehand.
You stick with what you know. Like Lin Yan Chin, like Lin Yan Chin says, be present, be still. Breathe through your nose, if you can. And have proper spinal alignment. Yeah.
Sometimes it works, and then at other times I think, oh, I need to act now because for some reason I need to act in the next few days, and I get anxious, I get into my thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
But I have to remind myself to be still again, and the problem will sort itself out.
Yeah, it's not even a problem.
And if not, right. But I like the train example you gave. I like that.
Yeah.
You know, not think, oh, should I go left or right? Should I do this or that? No, when the train comes, you take the decision then, and it's going to be fine.
That's right.
Right. Okay, sorry for being so not precise. You know, it's a little bit hard for me with the English to translate my thoughts into English.
Right. Are you Italian?
Yes, I speak German. I'm from a German-speaking region in Italy.
Okay.
But my passport, my nationality is Italian.
So you're trilingual, at least. You know German, Italian, and English.
Yes.
Much respect. That's cool.
We have. Thank you, man. Thank you. Okay. So that's. Thank you for the clarity. That helped. Next time I'm calling, I'm gonna sort it out maybe a little bit better what my question is. So I don't let the others wait.
I had no problem. I had no problem with your question. I actually really enjoyed it. It is a highlight of the day for me. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
All right. And did you say you're 31 or 41?
33.
33. Nice.
Right.
Right on, man. It's good to hear from you. Call me again, Sebastian.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, how are you calling? What are you using to call? Do you have like international minutes or what?
Yeah, I have. So, because Nick asked me this also earlier, I'm sure I have 100 minutes in the European Union and a certain amount of minutes outside the European Union.
Okay.
So it should be fine. But yeah, if I get a bill, it's fine also, for the advice.
That's cool.
Still fine.
Well, much appreciated, man.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
All right. Bye. You guys in the chat are funny, by the way. Catch American Anchor, baby. After this, guys, I can't believe that I only have a half hour left. Let me read a few super chats, by the way. So American Anchor Baby is going to be coming up next. I started to say Madeline, but it's Marilyn, not to be confused with Madeline. Oh, no, it is Madeline, not to be confused with Marilyn. Marilyn is God. So she thinks. But this is not God. This is Madeline. Hey, Hake, I'm a public school teacher. I teach middle school language arts. I constantly hype up trade schools to my students. Colleges are demonic, literally. And thanks for what you're doing. She's a member now on buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report. Right on, Madeline. Thank you kindly. Shout out to the teachers. And JC from Little Rock, Arkansas. It's the Great Pumpkin. James Hake. Yeah, wearing a orange t-shirt. You banned Joe, so y'all get rid of Joel, ban Joe. Your fan base consists so much of us hate listeners, as you say. So you're trying to really lose many of us. No, I'm not. I agreeably banned Joe. Agreeably. I appreciate him, but I think it's time to move on. But he got his word in. He hopes I unban him. I'm going to stick with the ban for the time being. But but I hope more of you haters do call in. I don't want to, and I know that, anyway, whatever. I heard your boss passed out the other day, so at least some good news. He deserves worse. Well, you guys are so malicious, wishing ill on your fellow Christians. And do know I'm never a supporter of Bond because of my super chats. I'd like some advice. There's a drag queen in town whom I dislike and has been starting drama. Some 22-year-old. Don't say the silent hypnosis. He calls it a silent prayer hypnosis. I imagine some people can hypnotize themselves thinking that they're praying, I guess. Because I don't trust that, says he. But you claim to be a Christian, so help a fellow Christian out. And to that chat, I am not a drag queen, says JC, whom I banned from calling as well. But I'm reading his super chats because we're friendly to the band, I guess, whether that's wise or unwise. So you wanted advice about the drag queen in town whom you dislike and has been starting drama? I would say if you were asking for advice, I'd like some advice. He didn't really tell me what his question is or what he wants advice on, although he did indicate that he has a drag queen in town whom he dislikes. Not he doesn't have it, but in town there is one. So a 22-year-old drama starter or something. Stay away from the drama. Don't participate in gossip or backbiting. Be a Christian. Be a Christian. You're a Christian, so just be a Christian. My fellow Christian, JC. Short for Jesus Christ, by the way. Christ our brother. So, yeah. Maybe steer clear. In the heat of the moment, say nothing to please your vicious wish. If I got the chance to say this to him, I'm gonna say this to him. Here's my chance to say something to him. I would say in that moment, say nothing to him. If you say you're presented with some opportunity or temptation to go off on him or whatever, don't say anything. And then maybe there's another time where you should say something, and hopefully it'll be clear. You refuse to do what Psalm 4:4, I believe, tells you to do. In the King James, be angry and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. This is how you overcome the anger. You sin not, you don't give in to that anger, and you commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Other translations say tremble and do not sin. Or stand in awe and sin not. But let's say you're angry because you're in that evil fallen state. This is how to get past it, perhaps, right? All these people who cite be angry and sin not means be angry. God's commanding you to be angry. they claim. It literally says commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Others say ponder. What does it say? Ponder in your own hearts on your beds and be silent. Tremble and do not sin. When you are on your bed, search your hearts and be silent. Examine yourself. Others say, I think it literally says meditate within your heart upon your bed and be still in some of these translations. Watch, see in all English translations, Psalm 4:4. Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Tremble with anger or fear and do not sin. Meditate in your heart upon your bed and be still. Reflect on your sin and repent of your disbelief. They're adding to it the Amplified Bible. Amplified, schmanplified. So be afraid and don't sin, says the CEB, whatever that is. Think hard about it on your bed and weep over it. Understand that Adonai sets apart the godly person for himself. What? I don't know what that is. Blah, 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 blah. So there's all these different ones. The Bible tells you to do the rebuildingtheman.com/prayer. Is that the prayer translation thing? Is that the prayer thingy? Rebuilding them. Oh, Lord. Stores. Here, where's prayer? Church. Is it this one? I can't see from here. Silent prayer. Oh, if you read, let's go to read more. Here's the little blog post, rebuildingtheman.com/silent prayer. There's all kinds of Bible references that tell you what to do. And even it is the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Is that drag queen your debtor? Or maybe he didn't even do you anything wrong. He just annoys you. Maybe that drag queen is a nagger. Anyway, nice. Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. Stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. See that none render evil for evil unto any man, but ever follow that which is good, both among yourselves and to all men. Rejoice evermore. Pray without ceasing. In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. Quench not the spirit. Despise not prophesyings. Prove all things. Hold fast to that which is good. Abstain from all appearance of evil. And the very God of peace sanctify you wholly, completely. WHOLLY, right? Holy. And I pray, God, your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless unto the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. Faithful is he who calls you, that who also will do it. 1 Thessalonians 5:15-23. Nice, huh? All these little lessons, and you guys are just throwing it away, judging. Shout out. Thank you for the, I don't know, hopefully that helps me JC, little bro. We'll call him little bro. Because he's a Christian. I think he's younger than me a little bit. There's Lin Yin Chin. Okay, anyway, you know what? I don't have time. I have 15 minutes. Let's get back to the calls. Reagan in Tennessee. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, you are.
Hey, Reagan. Nice to hear from you.
Nice to hear from you.
Cool.
I'm a long-time listener, and I called about construction. Just want to share some.
Nice.
Of what's going on today in Tennessee and in our trade. I'm a carpenter by trade, by the way.
Right on.
But all these other calls, man, there's so much information. Like, just briefly, if you don't mind, Joe, like he brings up good stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
But a good example is that call because he's like bringing up a point but not being out of his mind with it and losing control. And then he loses control at the end and says, I wish that guy would die.
Yeah.
That's why you're bad.
Right.
But he does make good points sometimes, and I do respect that he's got livestock and this and that because we deal a lot with that around here.
That's cool. Me too.
Yeah. Nice. What do you deal with?
I heard callers and the snake pit. I'm a snake pit wrangler.
That's what you deal with.
Yeah, you know what? I worked with people who did some like fine carpentry, I guess you could call it, cabinets, molding, and stuff like that. That's
what I do these days.
What's that?
I'm sorry. That's what I do these days. I do mostly finished carpentry.
Right on, man. Oh yeah, finished carpentry, not fine carpentry. Yeah. Finished carpentry. Yeah, that's cool. It's a good skill.
Mm-hmm. But and then it was the guy. Is it Ronnie?
Ronnie in Ohio.
Was he the one that's like, there's not enough white people at Walmart? Is that the guy?
No. You're thinking of David in Ocala, Florida, who's turning a little bit racist, he says.
Yeah. Dude, I understand. I was going to say about the construction trade. With ICE and everybody going around picking up the illegals, it seems like they picked them up or something. Oh, they're just gone, and all you see are white guys and black guys.
You know what? A lot of them are staying home, I hear, because they don't want to get picked up.
Right.
Yeah.
They're hiding.
Right.
Which is not a bad thing. You see lots of more open seats on the buses, lots of more spots at the restaurant.
Yeah.
They're at home. They're hiding, man.
Right.
It's kind of ominous because it's crazy just how many people are made up by immigrants. Even where I live. I don't live in Memphis, but I live just outside. So it's kind of a hotbed for immigrants seeking, quote, opportunity, basically seeking employers who are seeking cheap labor.
Right.
So they're very prevalent a little south of me.
And you know what?
But,
when I worked in the cabinetry business, every single one of our employees had an I-9, which gave us plausible. An I-9 means that you're allowed to work here or something like that. I don't know.
Right.
Which gave us plausible deniability. They may have been illegal, but it wasn't that we hired illegals, at least not knowingly. But they didn't have driver licenses, so we kind of suspected they're illegal. But, so all these people blaming employers for hiring illegals, employers oftentimes will jump through the proper hoops because the government makes it easy for illegals to live and work here.
And can you blame them? Because
you can't.
They're presented with a choice: same labor, cheaper wage.
That might be right. Yeah.
Well, I've been competing against that for all my life. I've been in this trade I'm 27.
Okay.
I'm one, and I've been in this since I was 15. When I was 18, I started my business, and I have been walked on or looked over, I should say.
Right.
Because the competitors are cheaper. And I'm fine with that because I don't offer cheap quality. I offer good quality.
That's right.
I used to build homes. I've done everything. I've done all the plumbing, the electrical. I'm certified. I'm licensed.
That's awesome.
And what a life that is to live. I just want to say trades are more meaningful than any other career path. They're hard. they're gritty, and they teach you to be a man. And you don't have a lot of women in this trade, in any trades, really.
Yeah, true. It kind of weeds them out a bit.
It does. It does.
That's
so
cool.
You want to be a man? Come on, let's go. And let's see how long you last. But in construction, this job I'm on now, it's the first time this has ever happened. Got a call from a lady, and I didn't realize I'd be dealing with 3 ladies. One lady, the grandmother, will be paying for the project. One lady, the mother, would be administrating the project. And one lady, the daughter, would be receiving the services at a residence. And so everything that I send to one, I have to send to all 3, this, that, and the other, get all jumbled up. I got so frustrated because they were going back and forth and coming up with misnomers about what I said because they're not sharing total information. I put my foot down and said, who the hell am I dealing with? Which one of you? Because one's paying, one's this. Really, if it came down to what I thought, I'm dealing with the one who's receiving it. And they immediately fell in line and were like, yep, that's her. That's the one you're dealing with. We're done. The other 2 are done.
Nice.
But it's been drawn out. They've been indecisive.
Yeah.
They wanted to back out of the project after it's already begun, this and that. And it's unique to the fact that there's multiple women at play. And I was Ocala, the guy in Ocala, his racial take, man, I got some in me too, but just dealing with people for so long and so many different people, black and whatnot, blacks usually are fine. Most of my customers are fine. And if we're going to break it down, blacks or women or this and that get, maybe have more emotional problems.
Yeah.
A little less self-control. It's true that they do, but not when they're trying to do business, I would say, not at least in the line of work I'm in. Maybe it's because I don't put up with it, and I walk away. But I can read people, so I just don't get involved. But 90% of the black folk I work for are some of my best customers.
Right. Because
I guess those particulars, they appreciate what they have.
That's true.
But they are very successful. Like Joe said, the number of black men and well-to-dos making 6 figures, it has risen considerably. And I don't see myself ever making 6 figures. And I'm comfortable that way. I have a great life. I own my home outright. But that's because money management and whatnot.
Yeah, that's cool.
And, but I'm well enough to do. But I remember a time when you didn't have customers like that. So there is some truth to I think it's bias. These men in the government, they, all these handouts and this and that. Not that they've worked as intended, because they certainly don't. They enable poor behavior and dependency on the government.
Yep.
But I would say that some of the opportunities that have been shilled out, some of them took advantage of. They did.
Yeah.
Like the affirmative action for college. Free college because you're black. Hey, man, I'll take that. I would take it.
Yeah.
I can't blame them. It's not their fault that it was presented to them. But anyway.
Right on,
man. In construction, it's an interesting environment, and it's changing constantly. Technology greatly impacts the trades, because what people don't realize is that the trades, all trades, especially oil and electricians, they run the world. They do all the nasty things that you have no idea about, and you have protesters that hate what we do because they think it's unclean.
Right.
But without it, you wouldn't have a car, you wouldn't have soap, you wouldn't have lights, you wouldn't have anything.
Right.
Light bulb. Every material that you interact with daily comes from a tradesman.
That's awesome, man.
And so, something to think about. It's just the construction trade right now with AI and stuff. Dude, engineers are getting outperformed by computers. So we're losing some jobs there.
Yeah.
The physical task, I don't think will ever go away. But anyway, that's all.
Great call, man. Very informative and nice. Much respect.
I don't call very often. I call like it depends. Maybe every year, once a year.
That works for me. We'll call anytime you want, as often or as rarely as you want. I definitely appreciate it.
And hey, I love it when you say Tennessee.
Indeed. Nice.
All right, have a good day.
All right, you too. Reagan from Tennessee. Tracy from, oh, Lord, darn. I was excited to talk to Tracy from PA, Pennsylvania. She wanted to talk about pain. That's all right. Let me get to Alex in California, who's on the line here. I only have a few minutes to go. What's up, Alex? Go ahead.
All right, Hake, let's zip through. We're two white men in 2025 here, correct?
That's correct.
We're under attack, correct?
Yeah.
Can you give me one or two examples of how we're under attack, and I can give you a few?
Well, you and I don't know of specific examples, but they do cry racism against whites generally, and they smear them when it's like they're the ones who are guilty of it more than the whites, if it even exists, which it doesn't. And okay, so that's one example. That's good enough for now. You said one or two, right? That's one.
Yeah. Well, the whole not that we're supposed to have pride thing, but how we're the only ones who aren't allowed to have pride.
Yeah. True.
And then another interesting one that I've been paying attention, well, not paying attention, but coming across lately, commercials are attacking whites now. Like I saw two medical commercials. One was for diabetes and one was for an anti-depression pill. And the depression pill was like a black family and a kid was talking about how he was sad to his parents. And, that's white people stuff right there. And then the diabetes. They
literally said that?
They literally said that. My jaw hit the floor for a second.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Which normal people can say that and you wouldn't blink an eye because that's how normal people talk. But a commercial said that?
They're putting it on, like you said, the media. It's not real life. It's what they're doing with the media. And
yeah.
It's insane. And then the diabetes commercial, it was like, people who look like me or people with my color, we get treated differently with our diabetes. The doctors don't know how to treat us the same. It's different for us as blacks. It's like, dude, that they think they're like a different species or something.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not only an attack on whites. It's an attack on on all of us.
Yeah, it
they're,
totally
they're
is.
They're special and they're better than everybody. But
that's why I said that Obama attacked blacks because he tried to make them feel like
I know we're really short on time, but what I was going to ask was, what do you think is the biggest difference between pre-Obama and post-Obama, like for whites, as far as like cultural difference? I would say censorship, like massive amount of more censorship. Like we're not allowed to say half the things we're allowed to say to each other, even in private or whatever.
There's a lot that changed with the Obama times because Obama came on the scene and Facebook was relatively new. And so internet talking was just kind of coming on the scene. So a lot has changed, but it's a whole new, different world. And Obama was part of ushering in the fundamental transformation of America. What a mess.
Yeah, the massive amount of censorship against whites in particular.
Yep.
And just setting up the game so we're on the S end of the stick, basically. And then the very last piece of evidence or proof would be black fatigue. And if black fatigue is real, Joe has to know about black fatigue. He's had to have heard about it at this point.
Yeah.
I would consider that as an attack on white people too. We're all exhausted.
Interesting.
If he had one day as a white man in 2025, he'd understand it. But
yeah,
we're living different experiences. So.
That's true, man.
It's just a shame to be in denial about it. It's like he doesn't think that white's under attack. And then the other day, Mays said that she's never sinned, so she's basically as good as Jesus too.
Yeah.
People amaze me.
That's true.
Anyway, I know you got to wrap it up. That's all I had. Maybe we can get into it a little more deeply next time.
Well, great call, man. I always appreciate your ability to be pithy. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right.
Bye. Always to the point. That is Alex in California. The rest of the callers, which includes Tracy in PA, I'm not able to get to you. Jaime in Minnesota. I can't do it. American Anchor Baby is coming up next. peace in the Middle East, or at least in your hearts. The Bible says, seek peace and pursue it. Bye, guys. Take care.